Welcome to the Better Agent Podcast. If you're a real estate agent that's looking to grow your business, then you're in the right place. Whether you want to go from 5 to 10 transactions a year, or 10 to 50 transactions per year, or more, well, then this show is for you. I'm Josh Lavick, your host for the Better Agent Podcast, and in each episode, we'll bring you the tools, tips, and tricks directly from myself and some of the best leaders within the real estate industry. We have one goal in mind, and that's to boost your production and elevate your real estate game. Let's dive in and start creating a better real estate experience together. Welcome to the Better Agent Podcast, where I'm your host, Josh Lavick, and we're here to just help agents out there that are looking to grow their real estate business. So whether you're at 5 or 10 deals a year and you want to go to 20 or 30 or more, you know, what does it take? What kind of tools, tips, tricks, habits, success principles do you need to do to be there? And so I'm willing to share more about my background over the last 19 years. And I'm also happy to have guests like Natally Fisher, who we have today. Thanks so much for joining us on our show today, but wanted to invite Natally on the show to share obviously some of her background and her story. So without further ado, I guess I'll let Natally kind of give a little bit more about your story and your background and maybe what would you say is your superpower?
Oh, my superpower. That was not on my homework of questions that you're.
Oh.
I think my superpower is perseverance.
Okay.
And I think that goes across many categories in business, that you need to have that perseverance, but more so in real estate than most people expect when they want to think about getting their license. I'm sure you've been there. We have a closing and somebody's like, oh, that looks like so much fun. I'm going to get my license. You're like, hold on. If I make it look easy, if Josh makes it look easy, then we did our job correctly.
Okay.
So
totally. Wait, let's just pause a little bit. Why don't you just go a little bit deeper? Can you share a story of an example of where you think your perseverance really showed up?
Well, actually, my actual entrance into real estate.
Okay.
I was 19 years old. I had lost my job. And I think you're a little bit older than me, but not by much. So do you remember the days of, oh no, you're younger than me?
No, I don't know. I mean, I didn't start when I was 19. I think I was 26 when I got started in this business. So.
I was 19 years old. I had an apartment and I had lost my job. And do you remember the days when we would have to actually print out a resume and beat the streets and fill out applications?
Okay. Yeah.
This was July.
Versus just click the button online to submit it on a job board or something?
Yeah. I can't even how nice would have that been? But I was 19, had to live on my own and just lost my job. So it was a heat wave, July of 2001. And I went out and I walked every business that I could. And there was an attorney that drove by.
Okay.
And it would parked into his parking lot, and he asked his receptionist, hey, what was that young girl trying to sell us? I wasn't trying to sell anything. I was looking for a job.
Yeah.
And so I filled out an application. They weren't hiring. He didn't have anything, but I just kept on. About 2 days later, he called me and he said, hey, I do not have a job, but anybody that's willing to go to every business on the street during a heat wave in July looking for a job, I want to find something for you. So he created a position for me. His name was Bill Hotop. He's actually still practicing in good old Sandwich, Illinois.
Okay.
He created a job for me in dictation. And within 9 months, I was his office manager and learning real estate contracts. Wow. Because in the state of Illinois, that's when you do real estate contracts, get a 3-day review.
Yep.
And working with good old Jim Lamar. He was Century 21. Now he owns his own brokerage brand.
Okay.
And this was the smartest broker I ever met. He would come to my office every Monday with coffee, and we would sit together at the fax machine, putting together the deals from his agents from the weekend.
Oh, wow.
And he knew, right? And he knew if he took care of me, because I handled the real estate, I was transaction coordinator, contract review. Okay. That when later on that day, when I would have a divorce intake, or I had a wills and trust intake meetings, when I had all these other meetings throughout the day, that I would be that I would be referring people to him. Yeah. And so that's kind of how I started in real estate, of just beating the streets, and I fell into something I absolutely love. It was kind of like a whirlwind, but it was a match made in heaven.
Yeah.
I did leave real estate for a couple of years when my kids were babies.
Yeah, so can I just interrupt for just 1 second?
Yes.
So I just think that that's so interesting, because I think there's a lot of people that get into this business thinking, oh yeah, I've seen HGTV, or I've been to open houses. I think it'd be fun to be a realtor. And like, people don't realize, I think, how much effort does go into it and how much perseverance it really does take to be successful, to keep going. And so I think that mindset of like, hey, look, I need to get a job, I need to whatever, you're going to do whatever it takes to kind of get it done, it absolutely takes that mindset. I mean, it's kind of interesting too, because a lot of people don't realize, right? At the end of at the end of a transaction, you just got fired, right? So you're without a job. So you have no job. So you better get on the street and start calling people or doing something or finding opportunities. And I think I've noticed that a lot in my career for sure. I mean, there's been several times where I've just been like, okay, here we go. We got to keep going. Just keep going.
Yeah, got to find that. So it's not the same, but it's kind of the same analogy.
Yeah.
Your last breath was important, but your next one is more important.
Mm-hmm.
I feel the same thing about my transactions. We never know when that paycheck could fall. Work hard, hope to get paid, right?
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that our life? Work hard, hope to get paid, because things happen. We try to avoid every pitfall that we could. But perseverance is the name of the game, and to be able to take rejection like no other with a smile on your face.
There you go. So tell me about that transition, right? Like, you went from back end office reviewing contracts to kind of transitioning to more you're front of the house now. Like, you need to find contracts and put those deals together, right? Was that a hard transition to make?
No, well, yes and no. I would say it depending on the different aspects, because when I moved to Wisconsin, I was like, well, like, what am I going to do? So the one thing that I would highly recommend, if you can, sit with the different peoples within your brokerages or within your team to see what they did. Because I worked front desk at Restano for a little while, and then I was a team coordinator on a team, and then became an agent, and then went out on my own. That is a long time of trying to build something up where a lot of people just kind of jump in the deep end.
Yeah.
And so I've had a lot of people to watch and learn and to follow and say, this is what I'm not going to do, or this is what I'm going to do. So really surrounding yourself with really good people, to me, was the key to my success.
Totally.
And something that I continue to work on, of like, hey, you don't get deals done by working from home doing laundry.
Yeah. Yeah. That's so interesting. I mean, I think about, gosh, I totally resonate with that too, because I was just at a conference last week, and I've been to tons of conferences over the years, and I continue to go because every single time I'm there, it's exactly what you're talking about. Every single time I go, I'm in the room and I'm connecting with and collaborating with other people within my industry that are doing their business at a higher level than I am, and something that I aspire to. And I'm getting that mentorship, that camaraderie, that community that exactly is doing that to help me stay focused on doing the right activities. Because so many of those things, so many times that it's fine. Once you get licensed, that's like the starting point. Okay, great. You got your license, but now building a successful business where you can generate clients that feel comfortable hiring you and making you feel comfortable. And like, those are all skills that need to develop, and mentors and the right people. Absolutely. 100% very important. Totally important. Couldn't agree more.
Do you believe that there should be a higher criteria to get your licensing, such as like appraisals? Appraisers have so much more that they have to do, and mentorship and everything. What is your take on that?
What's my take on that? I have not done my continuing education yet for this year. It's due in about a month or so, and I will be getting it done. But to me, I think ultimately it falls on the consumer. I think I don't mind the education kind of where it's at. At the end of the day, if the consumer doesn't feel like you're a competent agent and kind of what you're doing with the contracts and and negotiating and all that kind of stuff, it doesn't really matter. So if the state were to raise the bar and say, I need an extra 50 hours of continuing ed, I don't know if that matters as much. What matters, I think, is going to be the success of your business, how many sales you're going to do, how many clients you're able to help, and what those clients say about you. I mean, what kind of reviews do they say? Do you give good quality service? I think that at the end of the day, that's going to speak more than having a minimum requirement. I think also the downturn in the market, right? We're going to probably see it this year and in the next probably 1 to 2 years, right? We're seeing sales are down after interest rates have been up. And so, it is maybe going to be a little harder potentially for some agents to stay successful in this business. If they did get in when they thought it was easy, is it still that easy or not? I mean, if there's fewer opportunities out there, do they have the perseverance that we started with, that we talked about, to continue to keep going when things get hard? And for that matter, I think the agents that aren't willing to put in the work to be successful, they're going to naturally fall off, I think.
Right.
So, yeah.
And the one thing that we had chatted before, actually, outside of the house, and I think you had mentioned it, of like, we're not competitors. We're essentially colleagues.
Mm-hmm.
I don't look at you as a competitor. You have you have an awesome team. Don't think that it's not noticed, because it really is. You have an amazing team. Yeah. If you look at other agents as I
think you beat me on that listing, didn't you? Come on. I mean, You're doing a great job too. So obviously you made an impact. So you did a great job.
Oh, well, thank you. But your success has shown through, and I absolutely love your truck, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I just keep trying to implement a little bit more every year, every day, and every month. And I think that's what it takes too. As I mentioned, I was just at a conference last week, right? Well, sometimes you go to these conferences, and I'm as guilty as anybody. I took 25 pages of notes, but I can't do it all. But I can do a couple things at a time. And if I can just implement 1 or 2 things each time and then incrementally add to it and build upon it, then then you're getting that flywheel going, right? If you ever read the book Good to Great, right? It's that flywheel effect. It's getting things in motion. It's getting your business in motion, and all those things kind of compound and start to add up. So anyway, getting us a little off track here, but
I'm known to do that sometimes.
Yeah. All right. Well, tell me about, I know I submitted some questions, but we can go down any of this path that you think would be interesting. Any kind of key things? Yeah, I mean, what keeps you excited about this every day, right? I think we're going down this path of perseverance. I mean, how do you keep motivated if you are struggling, or what gets you excited and motivated to keep going?
What keeps you motivated, honestly, is the excitement. It's very exciting to meet somebody and they have a life goal. I think so many people, so many consumers just get so caught up in what the interest rate is. What's the interest rate? What's the interest? Yes, it's very important. I would never take that off the table of being an important factor. However, your life goals are always going to be there. And if you're going to just keep pushing and pushing them off, are you going to be happy? So when you have that initial consultation and you're going through somebody's goals with them, it's a personal thing of like, your goals, your personal goals just made it on my goal board. It just made it up on my list of like, hey, I want to help you find your happy place. Or, you know what? Or you're in a life change where you got to sell mom and dad's house, or we had this going on. But all the different life events that can happen with real estate can be almost anything. And so when you take a burden off somebody's back of a property, or you find somebody their happy place, some place that they're going to raise their family, it's awesome. And you know the feeling, or when you walk into a home and you in the initial consultation, you tell people like, hey, when you walk into it, you'll know it, you'll feel it, and be like, Natally, make this happen.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah, for sure. Getting that energy from the other person and just feeling their excitement and helping them get excited about it. Totally. It's a cool feeling for sure. Nothing like it.
And you become lifelong friends with some of your clients.
Yeah, totally.
And becoming the family broker is amazing. One, it's amazing for business, but just seeing the transitions of their life is a driving force for me. It 100% is.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. No, I think that's good. So I'd like to go deeper on that too. Let's just talk a little bit more too. I mean, I think about, and I'm a big reader, right? So I like thinking about some of the different habits, routines of things that you do to kind of keep that mindset sharp and stay motivated. I mean, I've had several iterations of this over the years, right? We have sort of a tracking sheet of everything we do. It's like contacts I want to make, people I want to connect with, emails I want to send or whatever. And like, what's my tracking worksheet, or what are my systems of behavior that I want to add to make sure that I'm improving my skills every day and helping and connecting enough people? Like, what do you think are some of the key things that you've done over the years that have really kind of moved the needle and helped you in your business?
Definitely a very strong morning schedule.
Okay.
You got to become a creature of habit to hit those things, because our days can get hijacked so easily, especially with personal items, because sometimes your partners, like, oh, well, you can go and do this, you can go and do that. No, I have to work this like it's a regular job, then more. That in a really strong database that you actually use.
Yeah.
Anything can be a database.
Totally.
But if you don't work, it ain't working for you.
Oh yeah, 100%. I know I heard a long time ago, right? The best database is the one you use, right? But at the end of the day, you got to use it. You got to go in there and you got to check it and add to it and flag it and do a tag for follow up this day and send this thing. But if you never log in,
your database is your fishing pond.
Yeah, that's where yeah.
And that's exactly what I call it. Like, I'm going fishing. I'm going to go fishing for some business.
Okay.
Information, it's here. I just got to dig for it.
Yeah. So that's an interesting concept, because I've had some people say too, I wonder, have you noticed how this has changed over the years? I mean, I don't know. I'd be curious to hear your thoughts on it, but I know today versus when 2001, I first got licensed in 2005 and started in the business then. I mean, there was no Facebook and Instagram, and podcasts were like non-existent. So, I mean, how we connect with people is maybe a little different today. How do you go about approaching that part of building your strong database, as you're talking about?
I do several things.
Yeah.
Probably too much. Honestly.
Okay.
I would probably need to scale back so that you can hone in and do some things really well.
Yeah.
But be a strong pillar of your community. Mm-hmm. I've always been a big fan of being on the Chamber of Commerce.
Sure.
Keeps you in the know of what's going on, gives you some face time with some other businesses. Support other businesses is a big one. I do pop-bys.
Yeah.
I do.
Just pop by and say hello.
I do about 30 a month.
Okay. That's funny you mentioned, that right off the top of your head. Like, boom, I do 30 a month. Like, that's an intentional thing. Like, you're not just saying, yeah, I just pop by when I feel like it. No, I do 30 a month. Right?
And it's calendared. It's scheduled. You're doing this month at this time. You're delivering at them. You're not going to sit down and talk with people. You're going to pop by, say hi, and leave something. Being very intentional with your time.
Okay.
Is so important. I'm sure you know it.
What do you mean? I got 3 little kids and a wife, and sometimes my time can get hijacked as well. And so, you got to protect your time and try to be focused. I mean, I 100% agree. I remember too, I think what you're saying is important. I've been a member of the chamber for years, and several actually local chambers, right? Our Monona Chamber and the Greater Madison Chamber and a bunch of them. But I think sometimes too, in terms of what you said about being intentional, right? Sometimes you can go there and just not really think about what you're doing there. Like, who are you trying to connect with? Are you really going deep on some of those relationships, getting to know those businesses at a deeper level? And then what do you do when you leave, right? Like, to me, that's almost where some of that process starts, right? Like, you leave the event, and did you follow up with that person or reconnect with them a week or a month later or 6 months later or whatever? Or is it just a business card in your office drawer somewhere? So who knows what happens with that, right?
Siri is my good friend, because the moment I get in the car, actually, she just turned on. Like, the moment I get in the car, like, okay, so I heard so-and-so is not feeling well. All right, Siri, remind me to send a card to this person if they're feeling better. I'm very big on birthday cards. I'm very big on making sure to connect with those people, and not only just people in your community, but other agents as well.
Yeah, for sure.
establishing those relationships with other agents can be a make or break. And I've had it happen to myself of like, hey, I know this agent, I trust them, they're going to get the job done. Totally. Yeah. Well, and especially if you're in a competitive offer situation, right? And I got 5 offers and I've worked with Natally and she's awesome. Like, yeah, that's not going to be the only factor, but it's certainly going to be something that comes into the decision-making for sure. It's something you can speak of, right? Yeah, absolutely. 100% agree with that. Yeah. Yeah. I think about too, like your morning schedule, man, I'd love to hear more about your strong morning schedule routine. I know mine is, I'm an early riser. I'm usually up by 5 and I try to hit to the gym 3 days a week. And if I don't, I tend to get a little grumpy sometimes and I'm not as effective the rest of the day. But to me, it kind of starts early and that kind of sets into motion everything else. So that's kind of, at least for me, that's what I've found to be really effective. And the times when I haven't done that, I know that it's a lot more variable in the rest of the day and the rest of the week. Like, what about you? What does a strong morning schedule look like for you? A strong morning schedule is at least making sure that I get a good 10 to 15 minutes of yoga in. Okay. And then I have one of those vibration plates. Okay. Are incredible, by the way. You should vibration plate. I'm not familiar with it. Look it up. It's quite interesting, but it's good for your bone density, lymphatic system. It helps. Okay. It kind of wakes you up in the morning. Water, definitely like to drink a lot of water in the morning. Get up and moving, and I try not to be later than 9:30 to get into the office. Okay. But really making sure that you do that hour of power on your database. Yeah. Hour of power. So that's hour of power is what? You're what? On the phone? You're texting, emailing, or phone. I used to do a whole lot more phone calls. I used to be phone call queen, Josh. Okay. Hey. I used to do like 100 calls a day. Whoa, 100 a day. Yeah, that'll do it. When I first started, I did 100 calls a day. I wouldn't let myself get up from my seat until I made my calls. Okay. And sometimes you have to go back, like you go back to the basics. Totally. But now people don't like to pick up their calls anymore. So text messages, work, emails, letters. Yep. Yeah, I think it is interesting to see how it's changed. I mean, I'm still on the phone a lot, probably more than some agents I know for sure. But I mean, and I almost don't even sometimes don't like to get text messages, but I know some people really love text messages. So I'm trying to come to terms with that. But anyway, for certain things, I think it's fine, but certain things it's not, right? Like if I'm in the middle of negotiating a contract or working on a client deal, like at the end of the day, sometimes you got to just talk it through rather than just rely too much on the text message. I think it's easy. Yeah. Sometimes people think it's easy to just send an email or send a text and like think the communication is done, but you miss a lot of nuance sometimes and you don't always hear things. So yeah. So yeah, I think, while texting and email certainly has its place in our modern digital era, it's not always 100% replacement for picking up the phone and making that call when it's needed to be done. So one of your questions that you had pitched to me was, what advice would you give to a new agent looking to build a reputation of reliability and trustworthiness? Sure. My response was, pick up the phone. Pick up the phone. There you go. Pick up the phone and I like to be proactive versus reactive. If something's going sideways or something's something's smelling right in the kitchen on a transaction, pick up the phone, tell the other agent. Yeah. We've seen so much, not a whole lot rattles you. No. But if you wait until the 11th hour, then you're losing your reputation of being reliable or trustworthy. Okay. Pick up the phone. Talk. Yeah. Great negotiations happen over the phone. Yeah, all the time. Yeah, for sure. Well, and so many times too, you can avoid that last minute thing by just picking up the phone earlier. And then now you know how to proceed over the next, say you got a deadline that's like tomorrow or something. You don't need to wait until the midnight the night before, even though legally and contractually, right? It's right. Well, the binding deadline is midnight. So therefore I got to stay up until 11:58 to find out. Like, no, you don't have to do that. No, thank you. I ain't doing that. Nope, not doing that. So yeah, no, it's interesting for sure. I mean, so many things can be learned just by getting on the phone and having that connection for sure. So,
Well, cool. Yeah. What else? I mean, I know I'd submitted a few other questions. Anything else that's maybe jumping at you that you want to talk about here today, or any questions you had for me?
Yeah, you had asked about some of the key legal pitfalls that buyers should be aware of that from my perspective.
Okay.
I might get a lot of hate from some agents for saying this. I don't personally like to double end deals.
Okay.
I like every party to have their own representation.
Sure.
Unless if like I had one transaction where everybody was an attorney. Everyone, Mr. and Mrs. Buyers were attorneys, Mr. Sellers were attorneys, and then they had me, and I was just like, okay, all right, we'll do this all five together. I normally would, most agents be like, hey, I want that paycheck. I like everyone to have their own representation, their own guidance, their own perspectives, unless if they 100% requested or like a one-party listing. We live in a litigious society, and everything can be looking all good and glory and all beautiful, and it's too easy to be pointing the finger at of, hey, you know what, you just wanted this to happen. So that I'm contract heavy, and so I'd like to have that severed relationships where there's like the meeting of the minds for sure.
Sure. I don't do a lot of double-ended transactions myself. I mean, I'm not, fiercely against it, but I think the times that I have done it, absolutely, I've noticed kind of what you're talking about, right? I've noticed somebody at some point sometimes feels slighted, right? Like, who's she really working for here, right? Like, are you working for the seller or the buyer or just for yourself, right? You're just looking to get the big payday type of thing.
And when somebody hires you, most of the time, when we get hired, it's, hey, you do this every day. I don't. Can you give me direction? Well, if you're working both sides, you're the referee. You say, hey, what do you want? What do you want? And they're like, they may not know what they want, and you can't direct anybody. Yeah. Which is all good when it's within that 30 days, but in 60 days later, if something's not right, who's the bad guy? Not the lender. Yeah. Right? Like, yeah, you brokered the deal, you put it together, so therefore it's your fault. Okay. I mean, I've never had an issue. It's just one thing that, like, with a little bit of a more legal mind, it's always in the back of my mind of like, hey, I want to make sure that we don't have a problem. That's another action of being proactive versus reactive. Sure. Yeah, I heard an analogy one time that just, if can you have just one realtor? Yeah, you can, but then it's going and getting a divorce and then hiring your ex's attorney to have them just write up the contract. I mean, is it really in your best interest? I mean, maybe not. And so, and that's why most real estate deals, there's usually two agents involved. That's why we typically have a buyer's agent and typically have a listing agent, because at the end of the day, both parties want someone strong on their side fighting for them and what's important to them. And that's totally important and absolutely a better way to do it. So couldn't agree more. Yeah, for sure. Well, anything else that you think has been a highlight from your business that you've thought has worked really well for you in the last year or two or a couple or so since being successful in terms of your growth and how things you've noticed over the years? Anything specific that comes to mind that when you implemented this or you did that, anything we haven't covered that comes to mind that you think an agent that was looking to grow their business, maybe double it in a year or 1.5 times, whatever, what would you say to that agent? Mostly kind of what we covered, honestly, Josh, is finding smart people to confide in, find a strong broker that you trust and you like. There's a lot of resources. And I don't know of any really good agent or broker that just brushes people off when they ask for help or if they ask for an opinion. For new agents, I tell them, don't be afraid to ask people. What's the worst that's going to happen? They say, hell no, leave me alone. Well, then you're like, okay, well, that's not your person. There, especially in our area, there's a lot of us. Yeah. But there are some really great people. I know that you could call up, be like, hey, I got this going on. What do you think? or I got this going on, or we've got some really great appraisers. We have some really great title companies. We've got some really great real estate sources. Wisconsin is, and it's lost on the locals, Wisconsin real estate, I think, is the best in the country. We have it right and tight. Mm-hmm. And so if you want to learn this industry, you are in the best place to do it here in Dane County.
Well, here we are. That's right. That's for sure. Finding smart people, strong brokerage, those definitely make sense. I think the other thing that was helpful for me, even early in my career, I remember probably the first year or two I was in this business, I wasn't even sure if I wanted to be a realtor, honestly. I mean, I was young. I was like, should I even do this? I don't know. And I remember clearly after about a year and a half being like, okay, well, I had very little success, honestly, at the time. And after about a year and a half, I'm like, okay, if we're going to do this, let's freaking go. Okay, like let's put more into it. Let's keep knocking on the doors. Let's make those 100 calls a day. Let's do what we got to do to get this done, to get the wheels in motion. And I think having that mindset of commitment and going for it and learning and tapping in and asking the questions, right? Like until I made that mental shift and that mental commitment, I was maybe a little timid, honestly. I mean, I didn't know the answers. I wasn't sure if I wanted to be a realtor. I didn't know all the stuff, but like at that moment that I made that mental shift, boom, my business exploded. It took right off. So
that's it. It's, to me, when I see somebody that kind of jumped into it, mm-hmm. I applaud it, because it's scary. I was lucky enough that I had immersed myself with around so many people that were already doing it, and working in the background for so long. I was like, hey, I can do this.
Totally.
Versus, hey, I'm just going to do it, because that's scary.
Yeah.
And you got to go to work like mm-hmm. your life depends on it, because it does.
Yeah, that's for sure. Absolutely. Very cool. Well, Natally, I really appreciate you coming on the show today and dropping some knowledge and some insight on your experience and awesome career and contributing to the Better Agent podcast today. So thank you so much for coming on the show. And if you enjoyed this, I hope you guys tune in on the next episode, and we'll catch you next time as we continue our path to continuing our getting better every single day.
Thank you, Josh. This is fantastic. This is fun.
Thanks for tuning in to the Better Agent podcast. I hope you found today's insights valuable. Don't forget to subscribe and leave a review if you enjoyed the show. Stay tuned for more tips, Q&A sessions, and sneak peeks into our 21-day challenge. To get full access of our show notes and more details on the 21-day challenge, go to abetterrealestateexperience.com. Keep striving for greatness, and I'll see you on the next episode.